example, I think when I talked to him a few years ago before he got, or after he had just, or before he got married, and he was saying he's thinking of leaving the corporate sector and running a company. I was like, you're going to get married, you're going to have a child. So those two things demand you to be in an 8 to 5, not out of an 8 to 5. And he was like, no, I'll be okay. Ngule will understand. And I've talked to her. We're clear about our path. And I was like, you can't quit your job right now. I know that you have faith. I know that you're doing. But he was like, Lerato, this is the dream that I want. And because I've got a supportive partner in Ngule, we are going to be okay. And they are more than okay. So I really salute you for that. So just a brief about Olwam, and then I will read just a quote from his book that I think for me, after reading the book, perfectly defines the man that you are before I bring it to the front. So for those that don't know Olwam, who are here for the first time and wondering who is this Olwam, who I call Mr. Hat. So I was so happy when I saw it. I was like, I want the royalties. Because in varsity I used to call him Mr. Hat, not Mr. Mqwazi. So Olwam Mqwazi is the managing director of the Black Hat Group, an innovative research and leadership development agency based in Nelson Mandela, South Africa. Mqwazi is also the founder and chairperson of the Fruits of Democracy, an NPO recognizing youth excellence and public engagement in the Eastern Cape. He holds a BA degree majoring in public administration and industrial and organizational psychology, and a BA honors in development studies, both from NMU. Olwam holds unique authority on leadership, exhibited by the awards ranging from the 2015 Million Garden 200 Young South Africans to Advance Media, 100 most influential young people in leadership society in 2019. This is a time where he's also going to also launch his second book. So before he comes up, I don't know how many of you guys read the book, but when Olwam gave me the book, initially I thought to myself, it's probably about a book that's going to speak about Barack Obama and what his philosophy on leadership is, and some African leaders. So I thought to myself, nobody's on Borega, because it's going to be a lot of theories from 2015 and 1997, and it probably won't challenge me much because I wouldn't relate to Barack Obama and what he thinks leadership should be about. But I literally opened 2 pages and I was like, hey, Tengati, this book is doing an inner work in me. It challenged me on what I call leadership, and it challenged me about challenging myself to be a better leader in myself first. There's a part of the book in the segment or the chapter titled The Right to Learn, and after I've quoted this, Olwam, you're more than welcome to come up. In this book he says, or in this chapter he says, it costs something to be uncommon in life, and a very few people are willing to pay the price. So he says, Olwam, it costs something to be uncommon in life, and a very few people are willing to pay the price. So with those few words, can you please welcome on stage Mr. Olwam Mqwazi.
Mandibulele ngokungazinzisiyo that all of you are here with us today. Nisiniki isithunzi, nisiniki igama. You are the feather in our head. Yes. I understand. Others will catch it when they Asiyanga sonke Nelson Mandela University. Thank you very much. Truly, guys, the love I know that is in this room, I don't doubt it. Ndifuna ujonga unkosikazi wam. You know, none of this would really happen uba unkosikazi nomamam bebengekho. Umamgcina uxhamela, ngicela ume ngenyawo bakubone mama. Uyabona ke amagcinakazi ayakwazi nophakama. And then phakama nkosikazi bakubone. Ngicela uzapha. Yes. Yes. I wanted to say thank you to her. Lerato is right. It would have been difficult had it not been for that lady. There's a time she spoke to me, she said, I think years later, 4 years into it, she says, you know what? I was nervous at first. I didn't know how we're going to make it, but now that I'm seeing it, she was happy that we took this decision. So I wanted to say thank you to her for enabling us to be here today. I don't want to say much and waste much time, but let me get straight into it. You know, when you've prepared notes and then you want to find the page where you said you're going to start, these words start running away from you. Before I start, Utatenda will make sure that everybody, maybe that's what we'll do before Ulerato comes and interview us. Just to make sure that everybody now has the book. I read a book, Eti Amaxhosa, Life and Customs. And I am asking myself if we know the term leadership based on iskolo, English, or based on television, what do we call leadership as Amaxhosa? Endlini ekhaya, what do we call leadership? What is the term for leadership in the Xhosa community? I'm using Xhosa because I am Xhosa, and I have a feeling that I'll always be second best to someone else if I don't start with myself. And so when I start looking at who I am as a Xhosa person, I then become the leader of my story. And so if I was Zulu, my wife is, I'm sure I would start from the Zulu context. We are busy doing a leadership, an African leadership discourse. We are building an African leadership discourse, but then we need to add ourselves in it, wherever you come from. So when I read this text, Eti, the insignia of royalty, Amaxhosa chiefs, is not much in the nature of outward symbols, as in the hearts of their people. The insignia of royalty among Amaxhosa chiefs is not so much in the nature of outward symbols as in the heart of their people. Ubukhokheli esiXhoseni ayonto ebambekayo ncakasa, yinto ebhalwe ezinhliziyweni zoluntu. And I read the sacredness attributed to their persons, the respect and honor in which they are held, and loyal obedience to their commands, which theirs is not to reason why, but submissively to fulfill the mystical idea that in the chief resides the life and well-being of the tribe. That as the head of the tribe and as such the repository of wisdom, endowed with the power to guide the collective members of the tribal body and nourish the body politic. All this surrounds him with a halo more enduring than any outward symbol. The essence of this text is that if you're going to go to the Xhosa community, of which I am and most of you here belong, and you are looking for a chief, a king, you will not see a symbol, an insignia in the bambekayo, ebonakalayo, theatrical. But you will find leadership engraved in the hearts of the people. It's the most difficult thing to achieve. To achieve this requires proper influence, which drives people to perform, to do things on behalf of leadership. Leadership in our context is not seen kumnqayi kwizinto ezithile, and when you read further, it talks about ubuhlalu, the beads. What would a chief or a king wear emaXhoseni? They would not wear a crown. We all wear beads, right? We all wear beads. So there's nothing different that you will see on a chief, on a leader. Now, which brings me to this question, Ngengoku. How do we define leadership? Yinto ehlala ezinhliziyweni zabantu. Now, how do we look at the impact of our leadership? If we search people's hearts, if we go and search people's hearts, what will we find about ourselves? In the book, I refer again to something that Toni Morrison once said, that unlike evil, which is largely theatrical and it has a cape, and when an evil scene as in SCENE, shows up in a movie, there's normally drama. They normally wear a cape in the dark, there's theatrics, but when you see goodness, it's normally you forget it. You don't. It's usually kind, quiet, silent, unseen, forgotten, unheard. But it doesn't need theatrics because it's pure, it's honest, it's peaceful, it's real, it's original, it's authentic, it is impactful. We don't perform leadership, it is us. It is our being, it's innate. Uyingcamla ezinhliziyweni. And so I speak again in the book about how amaXhosa, in the introductory chapter, this is uChief Langa. I like this passage. It changed my heart and my life. Ntokamlawu mzukulwana kaRharhabe namhla uthwesa ubukhosi bakowenu ziphathe ngokundiliseka. Isidima masikufanele kunye nobulungisa. Ngabantu bakho aba yiba nguyise kubo. ubaphathe ngobulumko. Isandla sakho masibe sihle, singafunani nesiqu somuntu, kuba isithethe sakowenu sithi induku ayinamzi. Leadership has to touch the heart. We're not supposed to coerce you. I need not stand somewhere and hit people to abanda izodongi. There's a level of how honest and pure and sincere I am, but it's powerful. This is why I am not one who believes that women should behave like men in order to be powerful. Your softness, your kindness, your soft-spokenness, and all of that can be as powerful like a constant drip. Consistently can break into cement and concrete, but it's just a drop, a drip, constantly. So the reason why we therefore take longer to get to these kind of successes, this is not a success, it's a milestone, but I'm calling today an accomplished milestone. It's a success in that regard. It's because we take longer, because we are not heard, we are undermined, we are unappreciated, we are overlooked, we are, there's a chapter that I wrote in the book about bribery as well. We have to work with so much, we have to navigate harshly and hard, because people are used to their ways of coercion in order to get things done. And you are here, you are saying, look, here is an idea, and this idea is going to work. Here is so-and-so. He is starting this thing, and it's going to work. Hey man, so it takes longer, but in time, it is impactful, it is unblemished, and it lasts longer. That is the kind of leadership that I want to invoke when we talk about leadership. And this is not the 10 rules to success, which are important. 15 leadership, which is important. I also did those things. But there is earnesty, there's power, and there's an impact in being consistent and pushing and being overlooked, disregarded, and pushing and not seen as one of them, and you are alone, and they sing against you, and they ridicule you when you start your company, when you make certain mistakes. They say, hey, wow, look at this. When things are not working, you continue, you build, because that builds a different kind of leadership, because you will know how you did it, as opposed to the other ways that might be very consequential. Lastly, I think I wanna talk about this question of a bribe. It's chapter 13. If I come in here and Uzianda, Ati, there's a shortcut I've prepared for you. Give me this. And then I take whatever I have I give it to you. And I do not know how many people or who will Zianda bring to my fold, because she's now my connection. Zianda moves to that corner, tells everyone in that corner, Olwam can help you out too. Speak to him. All of a sudden, I find my business is working and it's fast, it's booming. Everyone is coming to me. But I do not know that Zianda recruited to me imigeo, bandits, crooks. This gift that I've given to Zianda has brought me into a circle of friends, people that I know and those that I do not know, but they know something about me. And they take what they know about me to the people that they know, to their circle of friends. So we have to think carefully about this question of bribe, of corruption. We have to, especially at the leadership level. Veronique has heard a lot of my stories. Veronique is a lawyer. Whenever there's something, I quickly run to Veronique and say, there is this issue. I must be protected legally. And for that reason, I'm bettered by my association with her. But I need to protect myself so that my associations do not compromise Veronique. Now, Singabantu, we make mistakes. I am asking this collective in this place, can we be better human beings? Can you be your brother's keeper? Can we not have to explain and can we not have to run away from each other because there's this issue? We are human beings. There's another chapter here that I talk, it's 490 times, 70 times 7, about forgiveness. That we need to forgive each other, we need to forgive. It's in the Bible. So I know that we have that, but because of where we are going, Mr. Mesha, because of where we are going, it's not for now. It's really not for now. It's the future that we are going to lead. And that will not be said in every platform, because they might not know that our kind of leadership pursues the heart of man. And that is not necessarily biblical, but cultural. Ubuntu betu. Enkosi. Can we get maybe one? I think we need to take this one off the stage and then one couch. Uluzuku. Here. This is my commissar on Uluyandelo. I thought I am. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for coming. We really are becoming better people. I look at you and every one of you have something good to say. I'm happy to be associated with you. Iron sharpens iron. I have to be an iron for you so that you can sharpen for the brothers of mine that I really could mention one by one, really, but and sisters of mine. but we might not have the time. We want to see Parker, ladies and gentlemen. Don't hide, Parker. Yes, you will see my book. Can we put my books here as well? Oh, style is right? That we can see Parker in my book. Yes, yes. Yes. Maybe let's take these off and then we can just step like this. Oh, that's fine. Thank you. Can we have another?
Yeah. One, two. Yes, inspired by what he was just saying right now. I'm sure